Hey guys, it's Miss Rogers here. Today we're going to work on perimeter. Okay, so what I mean by perimeter is just a way of saying it's the distance around a shape. So it's going to look at the outside of the shape going all the way around, and it's just adding up all the sides of the shape. Okay, so in this video I'm going to give you a couple different examples of how you could get a perimeter question asked to you, or that a couple ways that you would have a perimeter question in a math class. Okay, so I'm going to do like a figure that has like a shape drawn out with the like figures lengths, like the measurements of each side, and I'm going to do a couple word problems so you know how to ace both ways. Okay, so in perimeter, when we're talking about the distance around a shape, all that you're going to do is add up all the different lengths around the shape. Okay, so let's do an example. If I was to draw a rectangle and I was to give you the length on 7 centimeters on top and 2 centimeters on the side. Okay, so if perimeter is the length around the whole shape, I'm going to figure out what each side of my shape is based on length, and I'm going to add them up. Okay, so you should know that a rectangle, these sides are going to be the same, and then these sides are going to be the same. Okay, so if I look right here, if I know these two sides are 7 centimeters, I'm going to put this down here. 7 centimeters plus 7 centimeters. Okay, then I know these two sides are going to be the same, so it's going to be plus another 2 centimeters and then 2 more centimeters. Okay, so perimeter is going to be adding up all these different sides. Okay, so 7 plus 7 is 14. Okay, and 2 plus 2 is 6, or 4, sorry. 2 plus 2 is 4, sorry. So my perimeter of this shape, the shape that I gave you, would be 18 centimeters. I got that because 7 centimeters and 7 centimeters is 14, and 2 centimeters and 2 centimeters are 4. 14 plus 4 is 18. So my answer would be 18. Okay? What if I gave you another example, but this time I'm going to do a triangle. So if I was to give you this triangle, okay, and this side up here is 7 meters, then I have 10 meters, and then I have 11 meters. Okay, so with perimeter is just adding the lengths of each side, so I would take 7 meters, and I'm going to add 10 meters, and then 11 meters. Okay, so I'm going to start over here. So 10 plus 11 is 21. And then I'm going to bring my 7 down. 21 plus 7 is 28. So my perimeter of this shape would be 28 meters. Okay, in problems like this where it gives you units, your correct answer is going to be the number that you come up with, but you also have to have the unit. So if you notice on both of these problems, I have 18 centimeters and then 28 meters. Okay, my correct answer is my number and my units together. If I leave out my units, then the problem or the answer is wrong. Okay, so make sure you have those units. Okay. So now if I was to look at a word problem, so if you notice on my board I have a word problem. It says, a rectangular window is 5 feet in length and 3 feet in width. What's the perimeter? Okay, so when you come across a word problem, the first thing you need to do is obviously read the word problem. But then your next step that you need to do is go back and like underline or circle the important parts that is being like written out in your problem. So if I was to go back to my problem, I'm going to underline a rectangular window because that's going to tell me what shape I'm working with. Okay. I'm going to underline 5 feet in length, 3 feet in width. Now I'm going to box perimeter because that's what my problem is asking me. Okay. So the next thing that you need to do is, based on a word problem, you need to draw like some kind of model to help you understand what the problem is asking you. Okay, so I'm going to draw a rectangle. This rectangle is going to be my window. Okay. And if I go back to my problem up here, I underlined 5 feet in length. Okay, so I'm going to label that. So I'm going to put 5 feet on top. Okay, and it said 3 feet in width. So I'm going to put 3 feet to the side. Okay, then it wants to know the perimeter. Perimeter, again, is just adding up all the different sides of the shape. So I would have 5 feet up here. And like I just said a couple minutes ago, rectangles, your top and your bottom are the same, and your left and your right is the same. So 5 feet is on top, 5 feet is on the bottom, so I'm going to add 5 feet plus 5 feet. Then I'm going to add my two sides of 3 feet and 3 feet because they're all the same. Okay? So 5 plus 5 is 10. 3 plus 3 is 6. Okay? Then 10 plus 6 is 16. So my perimeter, I'm going to abbreviate perimeter to save us time. I'm going to say perimeter is P. Okay? So my perimeter of my rectangular window is 16 feet. Okay? Notice I kept my unit. Okay? It's important for you to keep your unit of whatever unit's being based on or being written out in your word problem. Because if you don't have your unit, then your problem is wrong. Okay? Let's look at another word problem. All right. So let's look at another word problem. Okay? Allison is painting a triangular frame. The base is 10 inches and the sides are 8 inches and 2 inches. What's the perimeter? Okay? So, like I just said, the second step when you're doing a word problem is underlining the important pieces of information. So, in this word problem, I would underline a triangular frame because that's telling me like what shape I'm looking at, like the perimeter of what shape. And then I would underline the base is 10 inches and the sides are 8 inches and 2 inches. And I would box perimeter because that's what I'm looking for. Okay? So now I'm going to draw a model to help me understand what this problem is asking. Okay? So I'm going to draw a triangle because that is the shape that the frame is in. Because if I look back up here to my word problem, it's a triangular frame. Okay? And I'm going to label my parts of my triangle. Okay? Notice the base says it's 10 inches. The base of a triangle is the bottom part of the triangle. So if I look at my triangle right here, my base is going to be this part right here, the very bottom. Okay? So I'm going to put 10 inches down at the bottom. Then it says the sides are 8 inches and 2 inches. Notice in the word problem, it doesn't say what side is what inch or what measurement. Okay, so you can put whatever measurement on each side. So I'm going to put 8 inches on one side and 2 inches on the other side. If you did it the other way and flip-flop 2 and 8 inches, that's fine because the problem doesn't specifically say what side is what measurement. Okay? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at my word problem, see what the question is asking me. It's asking me what the perimeter is. So now I'm going to figure out what the perimeter is. And remember, perimeter is just the distance around a shape. So I'm going to add up all the different sizes of measurements around my shape. So I'm going to have 10 inches. I'm going to add 8 inches. And I'm going to add 2 inches. Okay? All I did was I took each of these measurements and I added them up over here. Okay? And I know 10 plus 8 is 18. Then 18 plus 2 is what's left. 18 plus 2 is 20. So that means my perimeter, or P, is 20 inches. Okay? Notice I have my number and my unit. Okay? Let's look at one more word problem to see if we can master perimeter with word problems. All right, so if we look at our last word problem, Natalie runs at the park. The length of the park are 15 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet, and 14 feet. How many feet does Natalie run? Okay, so one thing that you could be noticing about this problem is the question is kind of asked differently than what you would expect with perimeter. Okay, and the other two example of word problems, I've asked specifically what the perimeter is. In this problem, I've kind of asked for the perimeter in a different way. Okay, so let's look at our problem and figure out what it's trying to ask us. Okay, so I'm going to underline the important parts of my word problem. Okay, so I'm going to underline the different lengths of the park. Okay, so I'm going to underline 15 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet, and 14 feet. And I'm going to underline or box my whole question. Okay, so this problem is asking for perimeter in just a different way, okay? It's just asking how many is in total. So how many feet total does Natalie run, okay? It's just stated a little differently, but it all means the same, okay? So if you also notice about this problem, it doesn't give you a specific shape, okay? So a park, it can be all different sizes, okay? So I'm not going to specifically focus on a certain shape, okay? So all I'm going to do with this problem is just write out what I know and work from there, okay? So I know my perimeter is the distance around a shape or the distance around something, okay? So I know I have 15 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet, and 14 feet, okay? And I know perimeter is adding up all this. So I'm just going to bring my numbers down and add them. So 15 feet plus 10 feet plus 12 feet plus 14 feet. Okay? That's all I'm going to do right here. And I'm going to put perimeter equals out to the side. So P equals. Okay? So if I look right here, 15 plus 10 is 25. Okay? Then if I look at 12 and 14, 12 plus 14 is 26. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this up in like vertical form to figure out how to solve this problem. Okay? So I'm going to put 25 out to the side, and I'm going to add 26 to it. 5 plus 6 is 11. Carry my 1. 2 plus 2 is 4. Plus 1 more is 5. So I know my perimeter is 51 feet. So based on the lengths of the park of being 15 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet, and 14 feet, I know Natalie is going to run 51 feet. Okay? So perimeter isn't that bad. Just remember with perimeter, it's the distance around something. So most times you'll have a shape or like a shape inside of a word problem and you'll be able to. Sometimes you'll have like a real life example like this and it's just talking about the overall like amount of space that's represented as kind of like a shape, okay? So perimeter is just adding up all the different lengths that you know. Okay, so it just means it's the total distance around a shape. Okay, I hope this video helped you guys with perimeter. Until next time, see you later.